Nigga, this better be the first show. As soon as the camera roll, I'll be like, this the first show. Don't let them.
Thank you.
Don't let them tell you nothing different. This may be the season finale.
Bloopers, you already on.
I'm already on one. I said, Brian, why do? Oh fuck.
Alright. So you good? You good?
Alright.
Season.
Welcome to the first episode of The Weekend Show here at the University of Virginia, the first, the one, and the only uncensored barbershop conversations, closed door, made to you, tailored to you, so you can enjoy the conversation. Today, I want to introduce my guest. So, kind of introducing you guys, I want you guys to go over your name, your year, your major, and also your relationship with music.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Bobron. I'm a fourth year kinesiology pre-med from New York. My relationship with music, I can say that I produced a couple tracks. Worked with Logic a little bit, so I have some time behind the computer with that, and just support a lot of friends working on music projects, and etc. So.
All right, so I'm Alicia Cooper, third year English, African Study and Drama, and from Dallas. And my relationship with music is I write music and I sing, and also music for me is something cathartic and it's something beautiful, and music is something where I search for myself into.
My name is Jeff. I'm a fourth year African and African American Studies with a dabble of psychology. I'm an audio engineer, and I'm also I'm an artist. I rap.
Okay. And for the fans out here, my name is Julian Jackson. I'm a fourth year studying leadership and public policy at the Baton School of Leadership and Public Policy here at the University of Virginia. So I want to get started, and Alicia, I really want to direct this question towards you, kind of almost encroaching on the eve of NWA, the releasing of that movie, Niggas with Attitude. If we're kind of looking at that realm of hip hop as opposed to now what is considered hip hop, and looking at that evolution, how would you describe the evolution of hip hop from NWA to what we have now?
I say hip hop right now is a little disappointing. It's a little disappointing. Side note from Kendrick and J. Cole and our Wale's and our Big Crit, I just feel like hip hop lacks a message. And people forget that with NWA's aggression, there was a message behind that. And it wasn't just talking about, I know later on we're going to talk about the lyrics, but just the lyrics and the content, I'm just searching like, what is it? What are we talking about? And these social issues, especially with everything that's happening right now, and just in the world in general, not in the United States, but just on a global realm, is just lacking. And I'm looking for some real, and I haven't seen that in a while.
Right. And Jeff, you are kind of that next generation. You make music, you perform. You performed in front of hundreds of people before. Where do you see that next realm of music going, of that next realm of hip hop?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I would kind of disagree with you, just because I feel like, personally, the next generation is, reaching back and tying in and incorporating some of the aspects that made hip hop what it was, with what started. And we have artists like J. Cole, we have artists like Wale, we have artists like Kendrick. We have a multitude of up and coming young artists that are trying to not only pave a way and become relevant, but also try and do it the right way, and incorporate some of the integral aspects that make hip hop what it is and what it should stand for. And as a young artist, I'm striving to more towards in those footsteps, trying to be as conscious and as conscientious as Kendrick or J. Cole or Killer Mike or any artist like that.
And Brian, you had the opportunity, as you said in your introduction, to work with and produce songs like maybe some individuals here on this panel on the option of music like Logic. you know, which is definitely one of, I have to say, my favorite artists as well. So I mean, kind of in that sense, you know, where do you, as a producer, as someone that kind of makes music what it is today, where do you see hip hop, you know, in terms of that evolution and also where it's potentially going?
I mean, I'd have to agree with Jeff, definitely, because I feel like a lot of people talking about music and they always reach back and they're always saying, you know, this music, you know, had a message, or this music was something like this and that. If you listen to they always pull out a few tracks, handful of tracks. But if you listen to a majority of the music that was back then, it's the same. It's the same theme message as it was now. It's just that it's just changed. You know, music has a different sound to it. It's just evolving. You know, so I really feel like music really hasn't changed in the sense, like, you know, people aren't putting out a message because, you know, as you said, you have J. Cole, Kendrick, YG. Perfect storytellers who are able to create albums, you know, and paint a picture in your mind, you know. But then you also have, you know, your Migos or your Young Thugs and your maybe even Travis Scott to a certain extent, you know, who are able to just make these kind of party tracks, which I'm sure there were plenty of when NWA was making music, you know. But I mean, a lot of people, they always try to, I feel like, reach back and always pull out the good points. You know, you know, Tupac was making good, you know, music talking about this message, and, you know, NWA was talking about this and that, and, you know, but you go back, talk about like Snoop, you know, Snoop might have had a couple messages, but a lot of his music, you know, was talking about, you know, what they do on a daily basis, which was not such a positive message, I guess you could say, for everybody, but which you can compare similarly to like Migos, you know, or even Travis Scott, you know, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, it's definitely.
Can I clarify my?
I want to clarify. I want to definitely get to it because
I was like, let me see.
Individuals here that are saying no, and you're saying
no. That's what. No. That's what I said. I said, let me clarify myself.
So what is that? Hold on. What does that mean to you?
No. Because I don't think they clarified.
I'm not just directly pointing that at terrorism, because I've heard a lot of that recently. So that's why I was just saying in general. Not just pointing that directly at you.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm going to say. That's why I was going to interrupt afterwards. That wasn't my message. I was going to clarify that a little bit much. It wasn't the fact that I'm not saying that we're not moving towards that, but I'm saying, like, back when NWA, we had a counteract. We didn't have a mass majority of the music produced right now. You can't say majority of it is consciousness. I can't say you can't say that. And that's why I said that's why it's a little disappointment. Because like you said, we had NWA, but we had Uncle Luke. You know what I'm saying? We had other music that was talking about getting buck wild. Like, so don't ever think that, because even the root of it, party music has always been that in hip hop. It's having a great time. But it's when the issue when consciousness is silenced or it's not heard as often. And that's what I have that issue with. It's just like, where's the voice? Yes, we can have 3 or 4, but we need much more of that. If you're going to talk about going against Migos, Young Thugs, when they have, not only are they reaching African Americans, but reaching a mass white majority. And so there's just so much. But sometimes people, yes, they know Kendrick now because like, he has some publicity, but Kendrick's been on the move for a long time. And people didn't know that. And TDE been on this movement for a long time, but it's when they have that one single. That's where my issue lies. It's like, it's just silence for so long. Well, and how do we get that message going?
To that aspect, you know, that's just about how diligent you are with your research, you know, because if you reach back, a lot of Kendrick's old work is very similar to what he has just recently put out to Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just saying for so long he was silenced, and it took something like Kid Mad City for him to blow up.
So exactly.
I understand.
Because at the end of the day,
that
you
just
also
speaks
have
to who your audience is, who's buying your music. You know, mainstream America to get out into that spotlight.
But it also deals with your PR and who sponsors you.
To be honest, it all stems back to the artistry, because at the end of the day, if you're not producing, you can produce music with the message, you can produce music without a message, but at the end of the day, it's the package you present it in that's going to attract the consumer. At the end of the day, booty shaking, twerking music is a lot more. A lot of times, like, audio is a lot more appealing to the audio than conscious music.
It's appealing. You know what I'm saying?
Let me kind of build on this kind of conversation. Alicia, you mentioned the idea of lyrics and beats. So I want to pose a question to Jeff. But how does how does that add to the message as opposed to the beat? You know, I feel like in today's society, and even kind of during NWA Public Enemy's kind of era, we're looking at the difference between lyrics and the difference between a good beat in terms of today's society?
I mean,
evolution
to me-
of hip hop. So how does that, what does that say? How does that speak to you?
To me, is there's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended, but there's levels. Like for you to have reached a level to where presentation wise, your production and your vocals are at the best, the highest quality level they can be. That's when you've reached Kendrick status. That's when you've reached Kanye status. That's when you've reached Drake status, because that's what they do. Their beats, they're always gonna have the best beats. You're never gonna hear a beat from them that you're like, man, the vocal, the lyrics carried the beat. Like, it's always gonna be presented beat wise, production wise, in its best quality, and then they're always gonna present with vocals. Like, as an artist personally, that's what I try to do. Like, I'm not focused on whether I want the beat to carry the song or whether I want people to hear the message. If I hear good music, whether it's live instrumentation or whether it's it's computer created beats, like, if I hear good music, I'm gonna try to put a good message, at least for whatever message I may have. It's not always gonna be conscientious, because I'm a person that lives within society, and everybody's endeavors are not always holy. They're not always conscientious. Like, we do have a relaxed side. So I mean, I try to speak to that as an artist. I try to speak to the holistic message. So I'm gonna have me going out on Saturday night, but then I'm also gonna have what I'm doing Tuesday evening. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I try to have both. But you gotta, as an artist, I feel like you gotta have that balance. For a lot of people, the music, when the production carries, you're only gonna reach a certain artistic plateau. Yeah.
So I mean, touching on that, I agree with Jeff. To a point where a lot of songs, I can name like a handful of songs where it's like the beat was just amazing. Lyrics were like lacking, but just because of the beat, was able to just carry the song. The song, You Guessed It, by OG Macko, right? Lyrics very simple, very elementary, but the beat, for some reason, it's very catchy. You could think of it not dun 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 dun. You know what I'm saying? So that beat is very catchy. So being able to capture the audience, with that kind of beat, and also that speaks to kind of like the mainstream audience, as well, like with the evolution of Vine, how Vine has that 6-second gap, where you basically need to give it your best, and with that can become viral. Right. Just how with Bobby Shmurda, he took a recycled beat, which is very good, recycled Lloyd Banks beat, which is very good, and created that 6-second Vine. And his lyrics is not that good, Right. He's some hot nigga. Like, what does that mean? What's a hot nigga? Right. You know what I'm saying? So, he was able to take that 6-second Vine with a very good beat, throw some mediocre lyrics on it, and explode it. Right. So I feel like beats can very much so carry a song more so than lyrics. I feel like more so often than not.
Right. So, Alicia, how have we graduated, in terms of music from lyrics, from storytelling? Because let's be honest, in terms of Tupac and Biggie Smalls, they were storytellers. NWA, Public Enemy, we're looking at storytellers here.
Yeah.
How have we graduated from that to a nice beat and some very simple words? Like, how have we graduated from that in your opinion?
Well, I think it comes to when people start looking at hip hop as a avenue for money. And I think that's a lot of it has to do when hip hop becomes a business. And that's when you have your catchy hooks, and that's when you have what can sell and what can get the kids going and what the kids can dance. And when people
what can kids bop,
dance to, and that's just what you get the mass majority. And like what Jeff has said is just like some people just go by like the masses, and it just goes by like how can you produce something to different people, and that's where I think that's where the issue lies. Is just like no longer is it becoming a passion. And those guys had a passion, And like I said, Good Kid, Mad City, that was a story. Cadillac Goodbye Big Creek, that was a story.
Okay.
And that was a craft. Even with people don't really look at Janelle Monáe, but her work was a story.
Right.
And I feel like that's when you have that artist, a real artist, and this entertainer.
I mean,
and that's where you get that.
I mean, so Jeff, what do you think? What's stopping you from being a storyteller as opposed to having a nice beat and putting some simple lyrics on it?
I mean,
and making some easy money, if you will.
I mean, because I feel like I have artistic integrity.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm an artist. Even if I choose to graduate from here and make that a permanent career path, if I ever so choose to do that, I'm not going to lie. I'm gonna be in it for the money. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not an artist that's gonna say I'm gonna do it for the. But I'm not gonna let the money shape me. I'm gonna try to do it. The difference is, I'm gonna try to do it the right way, and I'm gonna try to make it without having to sacrifice my sound and sacrifice what I know I'm capable of producing, because I don't feel like I want to settle and make bitches shaking ass in the club, niggas popping bottles, we smoking. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna mention that because that's what I do, but at the same time, that's not all I'm about.
And then Brian, you produce the music. You tell the artist whether
Helped him produce a couple tracks, you know.
you tell an artist, okay, we're going for storytelling or we're going for turned up ratchet kind of music, lyrics. How do you discern between what track is what and what artist that you're working with, where their direction is?
It's all up to the artist, honestly.
It is.
Because the artist will listen to, artists will usually come up to a producer, I heard this really good song, sample an old song, something back in the day.
Which Logic is, I would arguably say a master of in terms of rapping over sampling.
Yeah, he's good with that. So, but being able to take, an old sound, open up some software on a MacBook, be that a GarageBand or Logic Pro, and just being able to get in there and play with the sound, find what sample he likes, the artist likes, he or she, would like, and then get that feel for them, and then wherever it evolves from there, the artist will most of the time direct the producer telling them, I like this kind of beat, I like where you're going with that, or I was thinking about this different direction, or the producer just already have a beat, said I heard this, had to put it down, just and I wanted you to listen to it, just like with Pharrell and Jay-Z when he made the song Allure, that beat Pharrell had made that and was like, Jay-Z, I need you to listen to this, this is fire. Jay-Z was in the studio, listened to it for the first time, he was like, woo, this shit is hot, you know what I'm saying? So like, woo, and Jay-Z, if you listen to Allure, like that is some real, like that is a real ass track by Jay-Z.
Like top 10 favorite beat.
That's what I was
one of my favorite produced tracks of all time.
I was gonna add to that. From a person.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier. Whenever you have quality production and quality vocals, you make classic music, and that's something that's definitely lacking in our generation. That's something that I can't agree with you on. It's lacking.
But I was gonna add, just as a person who like writes music, like he said, is a relationship with the producers. Because when I go in and I write a song, I already have a melody in my head. And I'm asking him just to cater to my sound. So it's not always on the producer like, oh, I was only given this beat. No, you get to choose what beat you want on that track and what story you want to have.
You bring a good point. You segue into a good point. So you have shows like Love and Hip Hop.
I don't watch shows like, but
you may not watch shows like that, but some African Americans may say that's my weekly dose of ratchetivity.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right.
So looking at Love and Hip Hop, and you see kind of what Rich Dollars may produce, what Cisco may produce, or whatever the case may be.
Cisco how Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah. Not that Cisco. It's another Cisco.
Okay,
He's kind of Latino, bald head.
Walking on girls and Love and Hip Hop.
That's how you know I really watch the show. But
Okay.
I mean, in that kind of space, you look at kind of the music that they produce and kind of what they kind of showing the show. But like in terms of like as artists, as writers, how do you go up to a producer and say, you're not producing the way I want my music to be?
You find a new producer.
I would argue that it may not be that easy. But in terms of like you trying to get your name out there, how do you manipulate a producer? And I guess Brian, you might be able to talk more about this, you know, than the rest of the panelists. But how may you say like, you know, I don't like the way that you're producing my music. I don't like the way that my music is sounding from you.
You just had
you know what?
Even
what is that conversation like?
Sometimes you question yourself. You don't want the beat to drag you, and sometimes I ask producer, "Can you bring it down an octave? Can you bring it down an octave so my voice can be heard?" And so it just goes back and forth. Just how can we tweak this? Because you have to understand that is an artist too, and so they're sensitive about their stuff. And so it's hard to sometimes critique somebody who was like, "That's fire," and it's just like, well, you know what? That's not what we have, and that's why I said always go back to their relationship and how do we birth this dynamic of this is the point where I want that hit that high note, and this point where I want that lyric to really emphasize at that point. So it's always like how do you have that relationship, and not all producers you're gonna work with, and you find somebody that caters to your sound, and usually you have a producer that has worked with a company, and people already know this is the sound that we're going with. And like I don't like when people say like, oh, because this is what people like and this is what we have to go with. But no, if you keep on repeating the same beats, of course you're gonna like it. It's just studies are proving that when you keep on hearing something, you end up eventually gets catchy, and you start yourself liking it. And when you, like I said, it goes back to that issue where it's a small amount of numbers of good music, and people can't. And when you're not exposed to that good music, that's how do you know if you're gonna like it. And that's why I'm asking for just more. But back to this lyrics, it's a relationship. That's what it goes with.
Got you, Jeff. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
we're in the 2000s now. We're working with Snoop Dogg and other producers, and we're going into Drop It Like It's Hot. Right? Very simple, very charismatic beat, if you will. And you know, after that, we're ushering into an era of what you made of twerking. Okay, in terms of party music, rump shaking, however you want to call it. We kind of usher into that era in terms of like 2010, 2011, 2012, that realm. So how do you think twerking has added to hip hop or deteriorated that, you know, the notion of what hip hop is?
Well, I mean, first of all, twerking is not a new phenomenon. It may be a new vocabulary word, but it's not a new phenomenon.
Okay.
My parents,
everybody Tootsie Roll. They did a Tootsie Roll back in the day. That was somebody who did a Tootsie Roll. You know,
Got you.
And 75 degree heat
out in New Jersey. Like, don't get it twisted. My parents old school to the core.
Okay.
All the music. I grew up on all the music, and they were dancing like that. They may not have been dancing that close. But they were dancing that wild.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, just, you know, basically, Snoop Dogg Drop It Like It's Hot, early 2000s. That's not where it originated. I mean, we've taken it to another level, but every genre that's built on another genre is always taken an aspect to the next level.
Okay.
And I mean, hip hop based off of, you know, we have rock influence, we have jazz influence, blues influence. So that culmination is only going to take principles to the next level, and we've taken what they've done and we've amplified it. You know, it's taking it to the next wave. So I mean, I'm not pro or con twerking. If that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do.
So let me say something.
But to finish what I want to say though, it's not a new phenomenon.
It's not, but it's more. You got it's more explicit. It's more explicit.
I mean, everything is hip hop. Everything in hip hop is more explicit because hip hop in nature was meant to be more explicit and to be a voice and to be an open, free voice and to be an honest voice and to be a voice of no fear. Man. And that's just how it was.
I mean, Brian, what do you think? What do you think when you're producing a track and then all of a sudden you realize, this is not going to be anything but girls twerking in the club?
Bands will make her dance. That's what they say.
I want to say what Jeff says completely right. You know, it's right. Everything has had the same. Everything has had. It's been going on. It's just a new word. You think back to yourselves, audience. You think back to yourselves on what the word we used to use before twerking, and ratchet, and all of those other vocabularies. What were the words that we used to say before that?
Bad.
Ghetto.
I mean, don't.
Shorty bad.
What was the word you used before twerking?
She ratchet.
I mean, I don't know. She throwing it back.
Exactly. Like it was.
When
the words are then clapping.
or when I was in a high school
Girls
party,
been clapping for years.
you know, when I was in a high school party, you know what I mean, Shorty was throwing it back, but she
She was throwing it back for days.
No, people
Like,
call it,
it's-
they call it popping.
It's
People
just a
popping.
change of words, you know what I'm saying? And if you ask your
But it's
parents,
escalated. That's escalated.
If you ask your parents, you know, like what was the word that they use, I'm sure they're gonna have some kind of word. So it's just an evolution of words. That's
Is
the
it?
first thing. Second, I'm
Shake
glad
your
that you
tail
brought
feather.
that up. That era, I believe, from 2000 to 2010, might have been one of the greatest eras of like classic music that has ever dropped.
We started off the era with College Dropout in a time period where there was nothing but Juvenile,
Blank,
Hot
blank,
Boys,
blank,
Baby,
blank.
all of them niggas, Birdman,
and also
Ignorance was running rampant.
and also that
Lil
was
Wayne was still making good music back
and
then.
also
Lil Wayne
and
hadn't
also-
even began his
Yeah.
career.
That
Like,
was-
he was in the
Hot
30s
Boys was
and
in
you
the
also
extra.
think about that time, that era, you know, that was also
But that
the
was
era
only
of
one.
when
They couldn't fight back against all that
was-
ratchetness.
that was also the era when, you know, the internet started getting big.
Yeah.
So the expansion of music. So also that was when you had people from the north listening to music, from the south, from the west. Everything was just being mixed
from
together.
the east. Don't
From
forget
the
the
east.
east.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah. So, so you know, everything was being mixed together. So that was
Rap came out.
that was a very important, exactly. You know, very important classic era of music. Shake Your Tail Feather, like, you know. And also, I always think about this. It was also the addition of music with, you know, predominantly black casted movies. You know, you think about
Good black movies.
Yeah, you
Not
think-
that
Medea
going to
movies.
Vegas shit. What was it? How the Honey I Met the Kids. Why Did I Get Married?
What?
Yeah,
Not that
Honey, I
bullshit. We
Met the
talking
Kids.
real movies.
you had
talking Boys
You had
in the Hood.
you had Rush Hour. You had
Rush Hour.
You had Bad Boys with these classic black tracks
That's a better
of artists. You know. With these classic tracks that I can think of today and just be like, wow, that was a great song. / this reminds me nostalgia. You know, it's just but not a lot of nostalgia. So I think I got a little off topic.
I mean, you did a little bit.
But back to twerking.
I'm gonna go to twerking. So I mean, nah.
go to twerking.
So twerking, I mean, twerking obviously is just a word. Like it's just a very catchy
Is
word. You know, it's a very catchy
an
word.
action.
You're right,
You know,
so
and I feel like you know, throwing
Is
it
it?
back because you know what it is. It's like
Y'all said
you
it because
think-
y'all guys. I'm really convinced because y'all are reaping the benefits of this.
So I mean,
It's
I'm really
Y'all-
convinced
y'all
because
the
y'all
ones
are reaping
doing
the
it.
benefits of twerking.
Nobody tell y'all to
I
twerk.
just-
Alicia,
If you want to twerk, that's on you. Don't let
He
me
said
I don't
it's like
control your
girls-
booty.
You
What?
you're right. As a female,
I got
when you
no
walk into a
ownership of
party,
the
But
booty.
yes,
when you walk into a
yes,
I ain't signed no contract
Yes.
like this
party,
the whole time.
yes. To be
an American woman.
to be half naked and twerk something. Twerk
Ain't
something.
nobody
Quote,
tell
unquote.
you to get
Twerk
half
on
naked.
that, and that's
You
why I
came to the
don't.
club
And
fully
that's-
dressed.
And that's why I do.
Words out of
But
my
y'all
mouth.
can't. But
Everybody
you.
tell you to have
But
naked.
no,
You walked out the
guys,
house
no,
like
no,
that.
no,
You
no, no.
didn't get naked.
And God, no.
You
And-
never put clothes on.
No.
That's different.
No.
Okay.
No, because y'all can't tell me there's
word.
as a producer who make music, you know when you have a beat, you be like, this is a strip club song. This is a
Okay.
twerk song. So don't say that you don't have some music that's catered to
Well,
women
if you
shaking
don't
their
like
tail.
it, then don't
Well, I
dance
don't.
to it.
I don't.
can make
And I
music
don't.
all
And
day,
I
but that
don't go
don't
to
mean
those.
you got
And I
to.
don't go to those type of parties.
So
But
when
the
you
sad-
go to a party, you
I don't go
dance
to
to Erykah Badu.
I don't go to those
I'm about to say.
parties. Julian can
You got
account for this.
Roll
Do
the
I go to
Deep on
parties?
repeat.
Do I go to those parties?
Listen, I'm the host of the show.
Oh, don't play. Don't play. But as a person, no. And all seriousness, no. He can account. He can for that for credit.
Alicia has not been to the bulk of the parties here.
No,
the
because
university.
I can't
that's
support,
cool.
nor do I go to, or do I support
You should come to
organizations.
one of my parties.
Or do I
You missing
support
out.
organizations who don't respect a woman? That is the issue, and it's in this music. Do y'all? You might know. No, y'all might love women, but do y'all respect these women? Because why you can't say, girl, you don't have to do this. You don't have to be happy. Y'all don't want to because y'all want to reap the benefits of a girl twerking on y'all. Like that's what it is, and it's really sad. And what I try to encourage other women
So-
is just, what? Can I finish my
There's
statement?
so it's lopsided enjoyment. Like
No.
Don't act like that sexual act isn't
saying,
attracting to y'all too, because it ends in.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying, but there's this music that encourages that, and girls, it's sad to say, but they think that's how you get attention, and you think that's how the only way
Now
you can get
that's an
attention.
issue.
When you have music, but when you have music that keeps on keeping this message over and over again, a girl's like, dang, let me dance to this, and their homegirl saying that it's okay, and you can't say music is not powerful, and we know music is powerful. We're all sitting here because we know that it's truth, and so when you have music like that have these messages and perpetuate these messages, people are going to start to listen to that and think that it is okay to be half naked and to dance upon a male and think that's how you get respect, but that's not really respect. That's not what it is.
No, that's
and you
not
can't.
So you talked about music and twerking, not synonymous, but a major impact. You talking about all I want for my birthday is
a big booty hoe. And then you have all these people trying to go get some butt. And because this music is telling you that's what that is. And people are saying twerk is what that is, and that's what people do. So you can't tell me that message does not convey outside of the realm.
The message on the song is bounce that ass, girl, that ass too fat. So you're looking at that, you're looking at that progression of arguably what hip hop is. So how is that? How is
that's not?
But let me put this out here. Let me put this out here.
Let's look this way. J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar is loved because they talk about things other than that.
Yeah.
But J. Cole has put out tracks.
He talks about it though.
Okay. Has J. Cole dropped a track that is as
explicitly as
Girl, go ahead, give me what you got for a poke.
You ain't hear the song "Planes" by J. Cole and Jeremiah, where he talking about
I think in general
he gonna dig her out. And
that's not twerking.
That's not girl bounce it on me. This is.
I mean, but you were talking about the R&B of the '70s.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But then you could talk. You could also talk about "Don't Stop." You could also talk about "Doodoo Brown."
You know what I'm saying?
What? That's the same difference. It's
and people at that time was boycotting that too. So it's just like people. Not everybody's been okay with it. Like, don't try to say like nowadays.
Nobody's telling you to listen to that kind of music.
I understand that. I'm with you because I understand that the artist at the end of the day has a responsibility to educate and just represent the culture well.
Yes.
And I understand that a lot of kids look to these artists this day and age because those are the icons, those are the role models. No longer is it people outside of popular culture. If you don't have the illest jump shot, or you can jump a butter rim, or you're not running for 200 yards or throwing for 5,000 in a season, then you rap. Like at the end of the day, those are where the idols are coming from.
Yeah.
And it's up to the artist to present and carry the culture, but at the same time, those are conversations that need to be had in the house.
Yeah,
those are conversations.
I understand, but I'm just saying that
it's not my responsibility as an artist to rely to bank on the fact that you're gonna listen to that.
But I just want the artists to know what they're doing though.
But like if they're okay,
cognizant. But I'm just saying. But there's always been a long history.
Back in the 2000s, Cameron and Dame Dash and a teacher from a Philly public school went on Bill O'Reilly's show and discussed this very exact same topic. And I recently just watched this interview. And Bill O'Reilly and his teacher, they were attacking Cameron, saying, this is back when Cameron was rapping about everything and anything, so they were addressing Cameron and saying that your music and everything like that has this negative effect on these children. You must know what you're talking about. You're talking about bitches and drugs and everything like that. And Cameron simply said, I'm talking about what happens every day in my life. I'm talking about what I see in the streets of Harlem, what I see every day, and this is what I'm talking about, and I'm reporting the story, And then the teacher said, you have to edit, what you're saying and gear it towards these kids and everything like that. And Cameron said, I don't have to do a thing along that term, What's more important, he's like, is what you're doing for those kids, because he's saying Cameron's gist of basically what Cameron was saying is that they're parents who are letting these kids listen to this kind of music and they're letting their kids get heavily influenced. There's a problem with that at home.
Sometimes,
no,
when you at school, how are you supposed to do that?
Let me finish. Then the teacher, should be regulating that, because then there's an inherent problem within that needs to be dealt with, not blamed for the artist. Cameron, at the time, he was saying he was doing a lot of charity work. He was willing to come into the school, talk to the students, make them understand, what he's doing for the community, buy them books, whatever, all that kind of fundraising, to promote education, And even he said at the end of the interview, he said, going to school is important, finish school, everything like that. But he's still making his music because, one, he's telling his story. Two, he needs to make money to support his own family. And three, it's just naturally what's happening around him and what stores him. He's a storyteller, and he just happens to do it by rhyming and on a beat, on a catchy beat. So this whole situation of people being influenced by music and everything, it's a deeper problem. Jeff, myself, Julian, especially Julian. Look at Julian. Julian is able to dress up every day like this, look very presentable, be articulate, and listens to music, the same music that Jeff and I listen to. Not that I'm saying that we listen to horrible, bad music, whatever, but we're listening to what normally mainstream music that is going on around today. And we're all articulate students here at the University of Virginia with very good GPAs, moving on with further professional goals, because we have strong foundations. These strong foundations have made us into the people that we are today, and have caused us to be able to identify with our own selves, where we don't have to be influenced by music in any sort of way where we have to change our identity and present ourselves differently for people on the outside.
Gotcha. And I don't mean to cut off Brian. I don't mean to cut off any of the panelists. But this is a show, so we do have a time limit.
Yeah.
So I want to pose this last question, you guys, before we get out of here. I want to let the audience know. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hashtag The Weekend Show. We're going to have, obviously, a lot of our panelists are not on the same page in terms of the topics that we are talking about. So we want a lot of panelists to answer the questions. Please pose questions to the hashtag The Weekend Show. We're going to have the questions out there. We're going to bring your questions up on the following show, and this way we'll be able to address all of you guys' concerns moving forward. So I want to pose this last question to the panelists before we get out of here tonight, and I want to thank all of you guys for really coming in and really kind of jump starting this season. But so given the context of everything that we said, what is still and will always will be your favorite song? And also looking forward to 2015, we talked a lot about evolution and stuff. Looking at 2015, what is your most anticipated album of 2015? And I'm going to pose that to Alicia first.
Big Crit, Praying Man. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
now, Big Crit is a big.
I'm a Big Crit.
I got a soft spot for Big Crit.
I do too.
Listen,
but yeah, that's some. You know what I'm saying.
I got you.
Hardy to scrape your knees. But I'm not really looking. I'm not anticipating for any album actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just letting it come. So yeah, because sometimes I get anticipated albums and they don't follow through, and so I just wait till I get it.
Okay.
There's nothing I'm coming for though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff?
Most anticipated album already released. I was anticipating Kendrick's album, and I got it early. So I'm gonna be cranking that for like at least another month and a half, 2 months, if not more. Because right now, that's music that I can just listen to over and over again. Because it just has everything I want to listen to in terms of music. But my favorite song, I'd probably say "Jesus Walks," Kanye, because that album alone was one of the first albums that was the first album I physically bought with my own money as a child. Like that's what opened the floodgates to hip hop for me. That and the Black Album, and then I went back and did all my history and got up to speed. But so Jesus Walks.
Okay. And Brian?
I'm gonna go and say I'm looking forward to this new Drake album that's about to come out. That mixtape that he just recently dropped, that was a bunch of like throwaway tracks. So, but that was a bunch of throwaway tracks for his album View for the Sick. So I'm just waiting on that because that mixtape in itself was just something crazy, something crazy with my woes. But So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that Drake album, and Future's coming out with a few projects.
Okay.
Definitely looking forward to Future's projects. That 56 Nights he just dropped. Need that. And my favorite track, you know, you see my library. My library is extensive.
Very
I can't really
very
think.
dense.
Very dense. You know, I can't think
It don't even
off
have
the
to
top.
be real. Like, it don't
all
even
the-
have to be your favorite song. Just think of
Nah.
a song and say it.
Nah, I think I'm gonna have to go with "White Dress" by Kanye West. That's a very good song. I don't have a nice backstory to it like Jeff. I just happened to download it and listen to it, and I was like,
free.
Yeah, it was free. You know what I'm saying? But that was a very good song. That's a very good song. I love that song to this day. You know, I don't know, for some reason it evokes like an emotional response for me. Not that I say I'm crying to the song, but it just you know makes me feel something. I don't know, but but yeah, White Dress. That's definitely my song. I think as of right now, I can think of. I'll let you know later though.
Got you. So there you have it, the weekend show. As you can imagine, and as I said before, closed scenery type of atmosphere, barbershop conversations, the conversation that you and your girlfriend won't have, and that's how we're going to do it like that. And I want to thank Brian, Alicia, and Jeff for coming out today and talking about one of the things that kind of guide our lives on a daily basis. So with that, that's the weekend show. I'm Julian Jackson. I'll see you next week.
Hey, follow me on the gram, JBird_UVA.
@_ Julian Jackson.
You know.
And also of course, at the weekend show. We out here.
You can follow the Twitter god, Brian.